The most important thing for all of us is to make sure we do not end up regretting, like most people do on their deathbed, of having completely missed out, of having really wasted their most precious asset. If most people have this regret, if so many people fall into this trap, it is for us crucial to understand why, to understand the mistake they have done, to make sure we do not do the same. The first mistake that many people do is first to accept living a life which does not suit them. They usually complain about it and usually blame others or unfavorable circumstances for their misfortune. They usually focus on all the things on which they have little or no control to explain why they remain stuck in situations which are clearly frustrating them and prevent them from reaching fulfillment. Stephen Covey referred to these people in his bestseller, 7 Habits of Effective People, as reactive people. Reactive people, as shown by Stephen Covey's in-depth study on what makes people succeed or fail, have a circle of influence which keeps getting smaller and smaller. As their circle of influence gets smaller, they feel more and more powerless and more frustrated, more and more disappointed. In fact, reactive people condemn themselves without even realizing it to live a life which will never fulfill their needs. They are, in fact, incredibly efficient at wasting their most precious asset. Other people referred to by Stephen Covey as proactive people keep focusing only on the things they can control and on all the actions they can take. By doing so, their circle of influence keeps increasing and they succeed in really improving their life. Proactive people, as shown by Stephen Covey, are absolutely right to take full responsibility for their life and to focus only on all the things they can control. The mistake that many of them do is to continue trying harder and harder, regardless of the number of struggles and obstacles they keep facing. As mentioned in the previous presentation, facing one struggle after the other should be considered as a red flag warning. When there are no facilitating events and only struggle, this is a clear sign that something is definitely not right. If this red flag warning is ignored, it will for sure be at the expense of one's health and well-being. This is the second major mistake to absolutely avoid. Trying harder and harder to reach goals which are not aligned with your true self will never bring you to fulfillment. Instead, you will feel exhaustion due to the constant struggles, and at the end of the road, disappointment, since the goal you have reached after such a huge effort does not bring the fulfillment you expected. Whenever you are pursuing the right goals for you, you are not only feeling good about it, you are also experiencing coincidence and synchronicity, which facilitate the achievement of your goals. Carl Jung has studied the importance of coincidence and synchronicity in our life. They are, in fact, key indicators which most people ignore. This is a huge mistake. Facing constant struggles is a red flag which warns you that you are wasting your most precious asset. On the other hand, experiencing facilitating events is a clear sign that we are on the path to fulfillment and making the best out of our most precious asset. These two pictures, I feel, are a good illustration of the second mistake. The first picture shows how it feels like to be proactive against the flow at the expense of our well-being, sometimes, as for the soulmate, until complete exhaustion. When we are proactive with the flow, we are more like the dolphin and the surfer on the second picture, joyfully riding the wave. The surfer has made for sure significant efforts to find the flow. But when he finds it, he can experience the intense joy of following the flow. It is only when we are proactive with the flow that we can reach our optimal performance, that we contribute at our best and enjoy the best possible experience of life. In short, when we do in fact the best use of our most precious asset. If you do not want to end up regretting, like most people at the end of their life, when it is too late for them to do anything about it, of having completely missed out, of having in fact completely wasted their most precious asset, these are the two major mistakes you must absolutely avoid. Remaining in a reactive behavior or remaining proactive against the flow. At this point of the presentation, I'd like to invite you to think about the fluidity you are currently experiencing in your life. If you are experiencing numerous coincidences and synchronicity which facilitate the achievement of your goals, you can rate your current level of fluidity as very high. If you are at this level, you are in fact feeling like the outside environment is helping you reaching fulfillment. A really joyful experience. Feeling a bit like the dolphin in the previous picture, swimming joyfully with the flow. If this is quite the opposite, and you feel like you are facing one struggle after the other, then your level of fluidity is very low. The constant struggles drain your energy and keep generating high level of stress and anxiety. I'll let you a few seconds to think about the number of facilitating events you are currently experiencing in your life and to evaluate the current level of fluidity in your life. If you tend to focus on things on which you have little or no control, if you feel mostly frustrated and disappointed, it is time to act. The disruptive times ahead of us will only increase your level of stress, frustration, and disappointments. If you are proactive, but with a current level of fluidity below 5, it is also time to act. The lack of fluidity indicates you are proactive against the flow. With disruptive times ahead of us, the number of struggles can only increase to the point where you can feel completely exhausted and overwhelmed. In both cases, you really have to act. Remember, it is never too early to act. Thank you for your attention. And in the next video, we will explain how you can create more fluidity in your life.